Hey, what's up? I'm back. Let's do the rest of stuff. Whoops, that got in the way. Here we go. So subtracting tips and tricks. Some things here, friends. A little bit of review here. If you take a big number minus a small number, it's going to be positive. Okay. If you take a small number minus a big number, it's going to be negative. So a little bit of review there. A little common sense. If you take 100 minus 5, guess what you get? You get 95. If you take 5 minus 100, you go down to negative 95. Okay, so a little common sense. It's kind of the same number here. 100 minus 5, 5 minus 100. But if you have the big minus small, it's positive. Small minus big is negative. If they're both negative, okay, if they're both negative, I think it's best just to work on some rewrites. So what do you mean by rewrites? Let me show you here. Say we have a negative 5 minus a negative 3. Okay? Subtracting a negative is an operation that you never truly do. When you subtract a negative, you actually change it into a positive. So that's terrible, but that should look a little bit better there. Anyway, let me rewrite it. Subtracting a negative is actually addition. Okay, friends? So you never truly subtract negatives. You actually just add a positive. Because if you think about taking away a negative, that's actually a positive thing. All right? So, rewrites. Anytime they're both negative, or if you have one of each, or if you have groups, it's usually best just to do a quick rewrite. All right? So, if you have a negative 5 plus a 3, it's kind of like the problems up in here with addition. Okay? Well, which one is bigger? The negative's bigger. How many bigger is it? It's negative 2 bigger. Okay? You got more negatives than positives, so it's going to be a negative 2. So, just stay on your toes in that situation. All right? It's best to rewrite. If you have one of each, just try to use some common sense. Also, think temperatures. If you have negative 3 minus 5, think of it as negative 3 degrees outside, and then it gets 5 degrees colder, which is going to get you down to a negative 8. Okay? Same thing here. If you have a double negative, let's say you have a 3 minus a negative 5, boom, upgrade, that's 3 plus 5. That's going to be an 8. Okay? If you have groups of negatives and it's just a whole bunch of symbols, just take your time and go for some rewrites. So let's say we have a negative 11 minus a 20, and then we're going to be subtracting a negative 5. Just go through and do some rewrites. Well, you can combine these negatives, so to speak. If you have negative 11 minus 20 more, that's going to get you down to a negative 31. And then subtracting a negative is really just addition. So then you go plus 5. And then follow your rules. 31 has got more negatives, so I know my answer is going to be negative. How many more negatives do I have? I believe I've got negative 26 more negatives. Or 26 more negatives, negative 26 more negatives. You get the idea. Fractions, kind of the same rules. If you have denominators that are different, then you want to make common denominators. One trick that I want to help you with, friends, is if you have negative mixed numbers. So like let's say we have negative 5 and 3/4. Oops, that's not a fourth. This is. Okay. A common mistake is if people are putting these in their calculator or if they're trying to convert them, is they'll do this in their calculator. So this is calculator talk now. So they'll do negative 5 plus 3 divided by 4. That is wrong. Okay. Your calculator is going to do the division and then do negative 5 plus the 3/5. It's negative 5 and, sorry, I said 3/5 again. It's negative 5 and 3/4. So it's best practice, students, if you're using a calculator, to go negative bracket 5 plus 3/4. Okay? That's going to work out a lot better for you. You want to keep the big number and the fraction, the entire mixed number. You want to keep that together in brackets, and then way you can use negative mixed numbers this way with brackets. So if you had to do a problem like this, I think I do this in class, I can't remember which one I do, but if you have like a negative 5 and 3/4, and then you want to subtract a 7 and 1/3, okay, first of all, this by hand, this problem would take forever. You have calculators, so use them to your advantage. It's a resource, so please use your resources. Yes, would it be cool to do all this by hand? Yeah, of course it would. but it'll also take time. If you have the resources to do it faster and be efficient, then please do that as well. Anyway, so we have a negative 5 3/4. Okay, cool. So that's how I type it in the calculator. Then I would subtract bracket 7 1/3. So that's how I would enter it in my calculator versus having to do all the common denominator noise. Again, back up here, you can do it a lot more efficient in your calculator. And then if you need to go to convert to fraction, that might be one of your best bets. So anyway, that is some tips and tricks on both subtracting and addition. Moral of the story, friends, if you have a chance to rewrite it and make it a little easier for yourself to calculate, go for it. If you want to use your calculator, make sure you use brackets with both fractions and mixed numbers, especially if it's negative mixed numbers. And I think that's about it. All right, that's adding and subtracting tips and tricks.